Okay, so this video is quite simply going to talk about how Kendrick Lamar could have buried Drake even more than he has, especially after the pop out on Juneteenth. So this video, in some sense, Kendrick kind of answered what I'm going to say here, but I feel like there could be a little bit more. So in short, I'm going to say Kendrick, this is how he should have responded to the Heart Part 6. K-Dot had a chance to stomp Drake's head while he was still on the ground. So basically, Drake, he gave him the 1-2 punch, the haymaker. He put him down. The Mortal Kombat fatality screen was up, and Kendrick had a chance to basically finish him. And here's the thing: I believe he kind of let Drake get up, dust himself off a little bit, and limp away. So now Drake didn't get up like feeling good, looking good, and ran away. You know, he was strong. Drake got up and limped away. He was definitely beaten, but Kendrick had a chance to basically stomp his head while he was on the ground and really take him out. And I believe Kendrick was being a little bit too nice to him. But I'm going to break that down a little bit and show you why with this video. So the first thing I got to mention, though, I will say the sample that Drake chose, the Aretha Franklin sample with it, "Let Me Hear You Prove It," that was actually pretty cool. I actually like that. I wish he kind of kept that sample flowing throughout the track. But let's break down some of this stuff. So what's interesting about Drake here, he's really, really eager to defend himself in this track. Very, very eager. He says, "First I was a rat, so where's the proof of the trial then? Where's the paperwork or the cabinet it's filed in? 1090 Jake would have taken all the walls down. The streets would have had me hiding out in a small town. My Montreal Connect stand up, now fall down." So what's really interesting about that, and I think it not fall down, not now fall down, but he immediately wants to say, "Kendrick, you're claiming that I was a snitch," basically. Now, what's interesting about this, Kendrick never actually said that Drake is a snitch. Not to say that Kendrick wasn't alluding to it, or that Kendrick maybe didn't have that in mind when he said lines like, you know, "I be at Newhall King," you know, with the fried sauce, get the dip sauce with the sauce in it with the blammy. Obviously, what makes that really interesting, Newhall King is really close to the place where Drake actually got robbed in 2009. So Drake got robbed on the corner of College Street and Beatrice Street, which is about 10 or so blocks up the road from where Newhall King is. So obviously when Kendrick mentions Newhall King, Drake is immediately thinking about this old town Toronto area. And that's where he got robbed. Two guys pulled up on him in the car as he was in the car with he was with the girl. They at gunpoint, they took his AP. The AP is a watch. And just like he said in the Family Matters song, he says, "True that, you know, they slimed me for my AP," just like Metro. He tried to flip it by saying just how Metro homeboy slimed him for his main squeeze. And so that's what Drake was talking about, that he got slimed for his AP on College and Beatrice Street up the road from Newhall King, which is what Kendrick referenced. But Kendrick never said you snitched on those dudes, because one of the dudes that that robbed him here, he ended up, if I remember correctly, ended up going to jail a little bit later on. And just like this whole idea that Drake probably was cooperating with the authorities and gave away some information here and got it down. And on that note, what's really interesting about that, I think Drake is very eager to clear up his name, because there is a story that said Drake was willing to talk to the authorities. So listen to this. So what happened? At the time, Drake was being dissed by another Toronto rapper for being a so-called snitch for cooperating with the police investigation. Although Drake's roots are in the general Forest Hill neighborhood, he must still contend with the strain of hip-hop culture that vilifies speaking to the police. I don't like that article saying through a twisted street logic. You know, it's a little interesting there, but I'm really interested in who wrote that, you know, what's going on there. But it raises the question, though, whether the case collapsed because Drake refused to cooperate. But there was a withdrawal of charges, but all indications were that Drake was available to take the stand. So when you put that down, it's going to look like Drake was willing to cooperate with the authorities and was going to snitch. Now, to be fair, let's have a discussion about snitch. I don't think that's the proper use of the term snitch. I think a snitch is specifically when you yourself are part of the crime, right? You're doing the activities that you shouldn't be doing, the illegal things, and then you decide to tell the authorities what's going on so that you can get a lighter sentence, so that you can take care of yourself. That's a snitch. Now, if you're just cooperating with the authorities to, you know, protect yourself, or like helping yourself legally, or they're questioning you based on stuff that you saw, you know, you're a witness, that's different. To be fair, you know, that would be the proper context of talking about snitch versus not a snitch. But in today's culture, people just make snitch anytime you're talking to the police, and that's technically false. But Drake is very aware of the connotation of being associated with being a snitch, and he's very eager to defend himself. And I believe Drake has a guilty conscience, and that theme is going to show up throughout this song over and over and over again. He wants to control the narrative about himself. Drake does not want people to say stuff about him that he doesn't want them to say. He doesn't want people to think stuff about him that he doesn't want them to think. He's very insecure. So if he feels that someone's claiming something about him, he's very eager to try to debunk it and be very defensive, and that's the theme of this song. So let's keep going. One of the next lines he says is that the ones that you're getting your stories from, they're all clowns. So Kendrick claimed to have a mole in Drake's camp on 616 in LA, and I think after all this is done, we've seen that is most likely true. And what's interesting about that, there's a lot of talk about this. But I will start off by saying I'll help Drake here and say that in the context of that line, he is referring to the information that's being fed that's not about the daughter. Not about hiding the 11-year-old daughter or, about being a pedophile. Apparently, he's not saying that type of thing is what he fed. But here's the interesting. This wouldn't hold up well, especially after what Ebony Prince, the Twitter account that came out and shown that he has all that stuff that was on the cover art of 616 in LA and on Meet the Grams, the cover art. He has all that stuff, the shirt, the Ozempic, the drugs, like the gloves. He has that stuff in his possession. And what makes that really interesting is that the clowns line seems to have lost its steam because these clowns seem to have a lot of real info. And what makes this interesting is that DJ Academics tried to say he heard the stuff in the photo was stolen from Drake's dad, right? And then Drake tried to take credit for this, but once again, you can't have that because Ebony Prince, who's not affiliated with OVO, has this stuff, and he's been on a tour all over the country. He's been in Philadelphia, he's been in DC, he's been on the West Coast with the stuff, taking pictures at stores, hanging it up on the gates outside the White House. So it's clear that Drake does not have control over that information. So they can't quite be clowns, and you can't take credit for giving that information. That was a flat out lie. Drake's eager to defend himself. He'll lie about it to make his image look better. That's all I got to say on that point. It's really interesting there, right? So you say, which is interesting, because let's stay on this for a minute. So you went and got all this stuff, right, within the week of plotting. He said we plotted for a week in this song and started disseminating this information, started disseminating this plot. All that time, and you expect us to believe that, especially now that if I was part that this stuff is not in your control, you're not the one that's controlling these people feeding that information to Kendrick, this particular information, right? So now all Kendrick has to say is, you're asking me for proof, but where's the proof that you planted this information? So obviously I'm not a rapper, so Kendrick could write that in a very great way and make it a really cool rebuttal. But that's honestly the concept of what he has to say here. You're asking me for proof, you hypocrite. You're insecure. You want to look good. Why haven't you given me proof that you planted it? If you planted it, show everybody that you planted it. So that hypocrite angle comes back really hard here because it makes Drake look really bad. You claim that you're a stand-up guy. What you're saying is the truth, but you're caught lying about the fact that you're feeding information. Kendrick already has attacked your character. That character angle on you is very strong. No one trusts you. Everyone thinks you're a liar. Everyone thinks that you like to be physically intimate with young girls. And we have evidence of you being physically intimate in terms of kissing them and touching them and taking them out on dates and stuff. Very, very awkward behavior, weird behavior, bad behavior. You look bad, and this is an easy rebuttal and flip, and Kendrick could really grind you into the dust on that angle right now. He could just come back and flip. It's an easy flip of that master manipulator line again, because Kendrick said it twice. Drake tried to flip it by saying, yeah, I'm a master manipulator. You fell for the, for the trick. And Kendrick's like, ha, I didn't fall for a trick because you didn't actually set a trick. You didn't set a trap. There was no plot here. Knowing that you are getting clowned for being a bad person, talking to you, Drake, what sense does it make to play with the fire? Playing with fire that you are some type of manipulator, that you set this up. You should not be trying to play the angle of, I set this up to make you look bad. You already look bad. No one's going to believe you. Drake, I don't know who's on his team. Somebody should have told him, do not do that. This was a terrible idea. You should have attacked Kendrick from a rap standpoint only, not tried to play the character and set up a certain angle about trying to trick people. You don't look good doing that. And because especially when it comes out that you can't prove that you actually did this, and now you look like a liar again, proving Kendrick's point. So now you have a chance, Kendrick, to destroy Drake's credibility even more. You have a chance to just like really grind into it, twist the knife in the open wound and tear him up. You take away his ability to have an out. By Kendrick not responding to the Heart Part 6 in another track afterwards, obviously the response was to pop out, and it proved that people definitely think Kendrick won, and just like the replay of the song 5 times is just diabolical by Kendrick. But I want another track, because you take away Drake's ability to say, I was the last one to respond. We waiting on Kendrick. And even though he won't say that out loud because he doesn't want Kendrick to actually respond, and even though he said that very defensively, and we'll get to that later on, he still said it. And now he can say, well, at least I responded. And I want Kendrick to take that away. Maybe I'm a little bit too petty too, but I think Kendrick should have definitely went that route and did that. So let's keep going. Drake's all about, what about the bones we dug up? Which is, it's an interesting line to say here, right? What about the bones we dug up in that excavation? And why isn't Whitney denying all the allegations? Why is she following Dave Free and not Mr. Morale? You haven't seen the kids in 6 months. The distance is wild. Actually, now that I'm rapping that, it actually, the flow of it, I would say Drake was rapping well throughout this battle, but you can't cover up misinformation and bad angles by rapping well. So some people, it's going to sound good, and on the surface it looks like you're responding well, but when you look into it, it falls apart. So once again, you're a hypocrite. Where's your proof? Kendrick, this is all you have to say. Like, break it down. Say, like, you say that I haven't proven anything, but here you are with allegations with no proof. What bones? Show us the receipts. Where's the text messages? Where's people on video saying XYZ happened? Why isn't Whitney denying all the allegations? She doesn't have to. You don't have to deny something in order to prove that it's not true, especially if it's nonsense. And here's the thing, Drake, once again, playing the character in the hypocrite angle, because Drake can argue that I don't have to deny it either. In theory, yes. Problem is the character. People believe Kendrick, right or wrong, whether or not it's like logically consistent to say that or not. Kendrick has built up the moral capital, the social capital to say, I'm telling the truth, you're in the wrong. People will believe Kendrick. And that's not just say, like, because some people are going to say, oh, it's like he's the savior and like people like treat him as like the moral high ground. He set himself up to be a person who has a better sense of character than you do. Drake, we see all of your skeletons, all this stuff on the internet. You look bad. You cannot claim a higher ground and call somebody a hypocrite when you look terrible doing this stuff. Also, logically, right? Who she follows is irrelevant. Who Whitney follows is irrelevant. Because look, Kendrick Lamar's main account, the Kendrick Lamar rap account on Instagram, does not follow anyone except Jojo Ruski, which is Kendrick Lamar's alt account on Instagram, the one where he does a bunch of weird photos and talks about some personal stuff and gives advice and stuff like that. That's the only account. So Kendrick Lamar literally does not follow anybody on Instagram, and Whitney does not follow him. I think the ideal is to keep the personal life separate from the business life. Kendrick always has been like that. So this point is irrelevant. It doesn't make sense. And Kendrick has already got you. Here's another flip. Kendrick could just say, I already told you, everybody. You made up on the story. You made up stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale. Here's another example of that. Kendrick can say, I predicted this. I predicted my fate. He can pull the Rick Ross. I predicted my fate, from the Champagne Moment song, because Drake is doing it again. You made up stories. I knew you were going to do it. Here you are making up stories with no proof. You hypocrite. You asked me for proof. Where's the proof? Rebuttal after rebuttal on that same line. And it can be a concept song all within itself, talking about how Drake is a hypocrite and how his character does not allow him to be believed. Kendrick could really just like slaughter this man on this angle. Whitney and Kendrick have never followed each other, so why would you randomly expect them to now? It's an insinuation. You're grasping at straws. You said Kendrick is spiraling. Drake, you look like you're spiraling by making up these stories, especially the day free. But let's keep going. Let's talk about some more of this stuff. Haven't seen the kids in 6 months. Says who? That's it. And this is, I know some people are going to hear this and going to see this video and say, like, well, you just sound like you're really defending Kendrick. No, I'm just thinking about it logically, right? And that's not to say that Drake can't use some of the same logical things here. The problem with Drake is Drake has a twofold problem if he tries to go the same route of defending himself. And not defending himself, really just refuting it. It's hard for Drake to say, says who or prove it, because there's weird stuff going on around you. Like the PDF file, that's what we say now instead of the actual word, which I think I said earlier. Those allegations, right? The truth is, Drake, we've seen you on stage kissing a 17-year-old girl and feeling on her and touching her. We've seen that. Drake, we've seen you texting Billie Eilish and Millie Bobby Brown, and they have both said that you talk about boys and advice, and they're trying to keep those conversations secret. It's a little weird. Like, what's going on there? You were seen hugged up with a 16-year-old model, and then you took her out on a date 2 years later. That was on her Instagram. There's multiple stories of you doing this stuff. So while that is not tangible evidence that you did more advanced physically intimate things with them, it does not look good. So you can't simply say, prove it, because no one believes you. You look like you've done terrible things with people that are underage or too young for you at the very least. You were dating Georgia Smith at one point. She was 19. That type of stuff does not look good for you. So Kendrick can easily just like hammer home that point over and over and over again. And it's going to land every time, except for the people who are most ardent about defending Drake. It just lands really well. Meanwhile, you try to attack Kendrick with this angle. No one believes it because we don't associate Kendrick with being a deadbeat dad. We associate you with being a deadbeat dad because you hid your son. Like, Adonis literally wouldn't have been unveiled until you did this Adidas press run. I think people forget that, but Pusha T exposed that Drake was trying to reveal he had a son through that Adidas press run. And he's like, no, you just wait until like an opportune time. You're trying to use it for clout, all that type of stuff. I don't like to use the term for clout. Let's just say you're trying to use him to like push some type of marketing scheme. And you haven't, basically been in your son's life that well in all this time. It looks really bad for you. You've made yourself look bad, so when someone comes at you at this angle, there's no extra work that needs to be done. Meanwhile, you have to prove that Kendrick looks bad and that there's evidence for it. And whether or not people want to say that that's fair or not, that is the way it is, and there is a reason why it is that way. It's not that Drake is some innocent guy. He's done bad things, and Kendrick could just over and over again, wop, 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 just hit this line. He can literally say, Kendrick can say, I already told you I got a son to raise. That inherently, let's follow the logic, that inherently means I'm seeing him consistently. How can he not be seeing his son? What do you mean 6 months if he's, I got a son to raise, I'm with him? And we have a reason to believe that. Whitney, oh man, do I put the video up? Whitney and the kids were dancing to Not Like Us at the pop out. So this line loses steam. All of it loses steam over and over and over again. So once again, another insinuation, a made up family story. You made up stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale. Easily could frame Drake's strategy as trying to manipulate the audience into believing falsehoods. Kendrick could come back to that angle, say it over and over again, and take it a step forward by coming at his MC card too. So Kendrick could take it another step by saying, you ain't even a real rapper, because in quotes, you could say, you make up stuff because you don't trust your rap ability. That would hurt Drake so bad in his soul. I know fans may not see why that is like deep, but as a rapper, as a person who claims to be an MC, if you say, man, you ain't even a real MC, you trying to hide behind personal stories and attacks because you can't really rap that well. Kendrick said, people don't forget, Kendrick said, this is a friendly fade. Let's keep it this way. This was supposed to be a lyrical exhibition in the game. Kendrick said all of these lines, but you messed up when you call my family's name. So Kendrick said, if you going to go there, that's something you don't want to do. I'm going to take it further. He said that in Euphoria at the end. Warning after warning after warning for Drake. Drake doesn't trust his rap ability. I'm saying this is the angle that Kendrick can take now. Drake doesn't trust his ability to out-rap me, so he's going to try to dine dirt on me to win this battle. For me, that hits strong. If Kendrick comes out and makes a song explicitly about that, that's going to hit so strong, and Drake's going to feel it too. No matter how much fans want to say he still has money and selling stadiums out and getting the streams, as a rapper, how you're perceived as an MC matters to the rappers. They really care about that, even if the fans don't. Or, you can say you're a fan, but I think if you're a hip-hop fan, you got to care about MC level. And Drake would care about that. Trust me, that would hurt him. So, now this one is crazy to me. I mean, if you want to just take anything from this video, really, I want you to take it all in, but really listen to this. This man said... This Epstein angle is crazy to me. He said, the Epstein angle bar is wild. He said, speaking of anything with a child, let's get to that now. This Epstein angle was the stuff I expected. Sir, why? Why did you expect the Epstein angle? Kendrick can just release a Not Like Us Part 2 from that part alone. Like, the video's going to come out and he's just going to, sample Drake saying the Epstein angle was what I expected. You should not be expecting the Epstein angle. That means you look bad with doing weird stuff with kids. Why did you expect the Epstein angle? Can we just, somebody clip this, make it a meme? Why did you expect the Epstein angle, Drake? It's an easy flip for Kendrick. You expected it because you know your past and you have a guilty conscience. Remember I said that's the theme of the video. He wants to clear his name. He's insecure. He doesn't want to be perceived as being a bad MC. He doesn't want to be perceived as a PDF file. He knows he looks bad. It's defensive right now. If you haven't seen the trend, these lines are all very defensive. Not so much on the attack. A little bit of attack, but it's more like I'm trying to clear my name. It sounds like I'm just trying to make sure that this air is cleared. It looks like guilty conscience. Not guilty conscience as in you for sure did it, but as in I'm insecure and I need to make sure my name is not being associated with this stuff. And once again, we attack the MC card. Let's attack the MC card again, Kendrick. So Kendrick, I hope you're watching. Somebody from the camp. No, I'm messing around, but literally I really wanted Kendrick to come at it like this. We can come at the MC card again as we follow that up. Because Drake completely, I hope for his sake as an MC, he did this on purpose. But he did it the wrong way, and I'll explain what I mean. He completely misunderstood Mother I Sober. How do you as a rapper completely misinterpret another rapper's song? Kendrick said he was not molested. Drake idiotically said the track where you said you got molested. Let's read it. My mom came over today and I was like, mother, wait a second. That's the one record where you say you got molested. F me, I just made the whole connection. No, you did not. You literally missed the connection. He did not say he got molested. He said his mother's trauma from her past of being molested, she is projecting that on him. And no matter how much he denied it, they didn't believe him for the longest time because the uncle was doing terrible stuff. Whoever it was, I forgot whether it was the uncle or not. But they were like, Kendrick, were you touched like we were? And he said no. How do you mess that up? And now here's the thing. Now, look, so follow me. I'm going to give Drake an out. Well, I'm not going to give him out. I'm going to explain to you what he should have done, and this would have made this land better. Kendrick didn't say that, first of all, but as an MC, you would say, you said this, so I'm talking to you, Drake, you said this, but you really meant this. So he basically said, you said you weren't molested, but you really were. Like some type of rap line to say that I understand what you were saying, but this is what I'm interpreting as, and then make that clever, make some type of witty bar. For someone who claims to be rapping well and you want to win this battle of rap, you sure didn't show it on this type of thing right here. I'm taking your MC card because you misunderstood Mother I Sober. And if you did it intentionally, you did it very poorly intentionally, and that makes you look bad as a rapper. Now you make yourself look incompetent. So Kendrick has another angle. Drake, you messed up so bad. You already said you rap like you're trying to free the slaves, which is the worst thing. Drake lost the battle on that alone by saying you rap like you're trying to free the slaves. Crazy line. It's second time by Misunderstanding Mother I Sober. You make yourself look incompetent, not a good rapper. You're not a rap artist. You're a scam artist that can't understand what he listens to. So many flips, so many bars. There is some stuff here that Kendrick could just hit and hit and hit. Oh man, so let's keep going. This invalidates all the PDF file flip bars that followed. It doesn't really invalidate it because, like, what I'm saying is that by using this angle, he's trying to say, Kendrick, you're so focused on this PDF file allegations because you were molested, but Kendrick wasn't molested. So now the foundation for all those flip bars that you're doing now, saying, oh, the reason why you're stuck on this and Mariah Carey touched my body, all those lines, they don't hit that strong because you misunderstood Mother I Sober. Like, Kendrick could just, I just wanted Kendrick to hit this so hard, just hit it. And it gets worse, y'all. It gets worse. And by the way, I'm saving the last part, the last thing I'll say is going to be the hammer. You're going to see it. So watch the whole thing. So look. He said, I'm too famous. Man, he said, I am too famous. This is out of touch. So let's read the lines. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was effing young girls, I promise I have been arrested. I'm way too famous for that stuff you suggested. Sir, incompetent. Once again, this angle continues. Kendrick just nailed this home. You're not a critical thinker. You misunderstand bars. You're a scam artist. Not that calculated, as Kendrick said. Weinstein, Epstein, R. Kelly, P. Diddy, Karl Malone, Bill Cosby. All famous, all very well known, big industries. All were doing PDF file things and all got caught. And if you're doing those things, you will be caught. As a matter of fact, on the lighter side, as much as you can say that this is lighter, on the lighter side of this weird behavior, such as touching the 17-year-old girl and hanging out with a 16-year-old all hugged up, that's already been exposed. Texting a 14-year-old, that's been exposed. You're not too famous. This was a terrible, terrible angle to take. This was not smart at all. This is an easy flip for Kendrick. You're not a critical thinker. You're out of touch. You're not a great MC because you don't understand anything and you're not that calculated. This angle was not the move. If you were in a battle rap scene, I'll be licking my chops. Like, I'll be like thinking of a flip in my head, like for the next round. I'll be like, oh, this is easy to flip. Okay. Let's bring it home. We got a couple more points here, y'all. So look, the Dave Free and Whitney thing, also another baseless accusation. Like I said earlier, just making up stories on a family front because you heard Mr. Morale. Kendrick could easily bring the angle. You're a manipulator of reality. You're a gaslighter, master manipulator. It's all here. You're a bad person. No one believes you, Drake. And this will hurt Drake so bad. This last song, I would make a track. I'm just talking to Drake's soul if I'm Kendrick. Just making him feel it because I know he's insecure. This is how you got to attack somebody like Drake. He's sensitive. And being sensitive is not wrong, but you can really attack it and bring it home and stomp his head, like I said at the beginning of the track. Like I said, this track was good rapping from Drake. He tried to hide the lack of good content and good angles with slick punches. Kind of all style here, but not so much substance in this response. It doesn't hold up to scrutiny. On the surface, it looks good. I made it up. I made you fall for the bait. When you tear it down, when you look at it, it does not hold up to that. I already got the diss track name. Man, we could just call it Whitewashed Tomb. You know, it's a biblical reference. You know, Kendrick likes a biblical reference, but a whitewashed tomb. Jesus in the Gospels, he was talking to the Pharisees, which were the religious leaders at the time, and he said that you guys are dead on the inside, basically. But a whitewashed tomb is clean. It's sparkling. It's brand new on the outside. You basically look like something that cleaned up on the outside to look good, all style, flash, but on the inside, morally corrupt. You're morally bankrupt. You're dirty. Sin is on the inside. This diss track has got to be called Whitewashed Tomb. That's gonna be the move. And then okay, so let's bring it home, y'all. So he mentioned Millie Bobby Brown. without provocation. This is crazy. Like Kendrick didn't even bring up this person's name. The line, it's a cool flip. It's a nice style, written well, right? Only effing with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I never looked twice at no teenager. There's been a lot of funny flips on the internet about that one, but Kendrick doesn't have to go that far, right? Why'd you say that with no mention of her from Kendrick? Obviously, it's in the air, so maybe you just want to clear your name. Guilty conscience. The theme, remember I said the theme of this track is he has a guilty conscience. I should just play like the Eminem and Dr. Dre song at this point. Kendrick might as well sample Dr. Dre and Eminem's Guilty Conscience for this Whitewash Tomb track. Once again, I calculate that you're not as calculated. You're trying to put out fires. You're grasping at straws. You're trying to attack me on the family front and make up stuff. But you can't. Finally, y'all, I'm bringing it home. This is the hammer. This is the hammer. You are running from the battle, Drake. This is the angle that Kendrick can just like I can see this being like another 6-7 minute track. In the last like minute or two is just like you're running from the battle. Easy angle for Kendrick to take. Let's just talk about some of these lines. Drake said you can drop 100 more tracks. Now, I'm going to take a little bit out of context, but in context, I will say Drake can kind of defend himself a little bit by saying, now Drake could claim he meant Kendrick can't compare in numbers. Because if you look at the context around when he said that, he's kind of like, like I'm out of here when it comes to streaming numbers. I'm going to get you out of here when it comes to that stuff. So you could drop 100 more tracks, you're out of here. The problem with that is that's a little bit too late to be saying that. You left the door wide open for this angle because once again, you're not calculated. You didn't explicitly or in a clever way communicate that you understood that and you were trying to make that flip here. But now you leave the door open for Kendrick to say like, oh, I'm going to drop 100 more tracks. You're giving up and running on the battle. Especially with this tired and weak sounding monologue at the end of the song. Oh man, this was some good exercise. Past tense. Sounds like I'm done. You got this burnt out. Think about that, y'all. This man is basically saying, you really like coming at this thing. Like, I don't know if I want to do this no more. This is crazy. I'm ready to just kind of back out. You got this burnt out. Like, I'm done. That's basically what he's saying. I'm tired. Then he said, let me know when we get into the facts. Problem is, angle flip. Who said you had facts? And once again, battle rap is not about proving who has the best facts. You watch battle rap, people make up stuff all the time. One of the biggest jokes in battle rap history is that one of the battle rappers, he pops out, he says, I got a gun so big, it only exists in battle rap. They're capping all the time. And that's not to say that Kendrick is, but to try to make it seem like Kendrick is invalidated because something may or may not be true. Battle rap is all about angle and making people believe it. You did a poor job of yours. And the fact that you had to make it about spilling tea because you got beat by Pusha T spilling real tea last time, that's your fault. You messed up by trying to take this angle because you thought you could win this way. And so who said you had facts? You started the personal angle and you lost. That's the way it is. So Kendrick's angle is this. You are running, you're weak, and you did the same thing with Pusha T. You did the same thing with Pusha T. That's all Kendrick had to say, just over and over again. He just acknowledged, he said, Kendrick, you got 10 more tracks. I ain't gonna respond. You got it burnt out. You got about 10 more tracks to drop. I don't want it. You're running. You're tired. Kendrick the best angle you took this whole battle, or maybe even just in this, so let's say this song, the best angle you took in this song was the R. Kelly angle. I mean, to be fair, like he can use that one. That's an example of Drake doing a good angle that he could have really brought home. Like I said, people understand that Kendrick wasn't saying that R. Kelly was right. And that we should be like celebrating his music or something like that. Kendrick was like, it really was the label, and like Kendrick was co-signing it, but like TDE was saying like, don't erase like that the art, like the freedom of expression. Now one can argue that maybe you shouldn't defend R. Kelly's freedom of expression in his music. Drake can easily take that angle, and he did. That's why that was the best angle. That one hits. You don't see Kendrick fans defending that. Because a lot of people kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I would, use R. Kelly, right? But Drake didn't do that throughout the battle. He could have rapped on that level, hitting stuff like that instead of making up stuff the whole time. It's just weird. And so finally, and here's the last thing I got to say about this track. about why he probably didn't come back with this next track. Here's the last thing that kind of brings it all together. Honestly, you can't step on Not Like Us. You can't step on it. Fastest hip hop song to reach over 300 million streams in 35 days, breaking record after record. 20,000 people at the pop out singing it word for word. It's in the clubs. It's all over LA. It's in Florida because Rick Ross is. Honestly, if you release another diss track, you kind of take the steam out of Not Like Us. And unfortunately for us who want to hear more battles in the back and forth, we didn't get it. And I think part of it is that, like, I think Kendrick's team, because I think Kendrick's ready to keep dropping. I think Kendrick's team's probably like, hold on, Not Like Us is the winner. Go ahead and just let it ride out. And but no matter what, I'm still waiting on that response. I want to hear Whitewash Tomb. Kendrick, take the name. I don't need a copyright, I don't need any, royalties from it. I want to hear you do Whitewash Tomb. I want you to take these angles and stomp Drake's head. The end. Let me know what you all think. Do you agree with what I had to say? Did you learn anything from this video? But thank you for watching. I will see you next time.